What's been a name that's remembered for 2,000 years? Julius Caesar. If you were to ask anybody on the street anything about Julius Caesar, they might go, Emperor of Rome, or they might remember the Shakespearean play and go, Et tu, Brute. But why has he been remembered for so long? There's been other conquerors, there's been other people who have had great importance, but people still remember Julius Caesar. Well, I believe that's because of the Romans' love for him. And there are 5 main points as to why he was so important to the Romans. Now, to understand why Julius Caesar was so important, we have to understand his history, what made him great. In Rome, Julius Caesar was a general, and generals in Rome were sent out to go conquer a place for 5 years. Julius Caesar was given the area Gaul, otherwise known as modern-day France. So he was sent to there, and he showed exceptional. This was the start of the Gallic Wars. Now, Julius Caesar was not just a general. He was also a writer. When he was in the battles, when he was in those wars, he wrote down what he was doing, what was happening. And at the end of the year, he sent that book back to Rome to be published. Now, he didn't just write it and make it seem all important stuff. He wrote it simply so then everybody could understand. So his stories could be passed on from the people who may even be illiterate. So that way the people knew what he was doing and people understood what was happening. This caused the people to respect Julius Caesar, to know him more. Now we go back to the Gallic Wars and what Julius Caesar was doing there. Julius Caesar was excellent at logistics. He knew that his army needed food, and he understood that he needed to get food, which is why he developed a strategy, a well-thought-out plan to get food for his army. He only went to war or went to battle with the Gauls during the summer. That way, when they were traveling through the fields, they could pick the stuff that was ripe, so that way they would have food. And the previously conquered Gauls, they could have the Gauls send the food to him to feed his army. That way, his army was happy and well fed. Julius Caesar was also an excellent strategist. He knew in battle where people needed to be, what needed to happen to win. For example, in one battle, his army was outnumbered by the Gauls. But he called out his own soldiers' names to help influence them and guide them and encourage them to fight harder. Julius Caesar was well loved. As the previous example, he knew his soldiers' name. He knew soldiers by name. And because of this, his soldiers respected him, because when you're seen, you know you are important. His soldiers were also well fed, and that also grew their love for him. And the people who were in Rome kept getting books year after year about everything Caesar had been doing and all he was doing for them, for Rome. So the people also had great love for Caesar. Caesar was also incredibly loyal. This could be used as a double-edged sword, but for the time being, for the Gauls that he had conquered, they knew that if they did what Caesar asked, then Caesar would do what they asked in return. And for the Romans, they had encouragement knowing that if they needed help, Caesar would find a way to help them. But if people went against Caesar's loyalty, then that would break his trust and he would go against them and destroy them. Now, it is Roman custom at the end of 5 years that the general and the army would travel through Rome so people can applaud and congratulate them on their success. But the Senate and the Triumvirate of Rome were scared and nervous of Caesar, and because they knew the people loved him, and they were worried that Caesar would come and conquer them. So they told Caesar to have his army disband in Gaul. Now, as I had mentioned earlier, Caesar was very loyal, and he viewed this as an act against him. So he told his army his plan was to go to Rome anyways with them. And his armies understood and loved Caesar, so they respected him, and they decided to go with him. So now Caesar was going against Rome. So Caesar went across the the Rubicon River and started the Civil War. Thank you.